What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and this is another Sunday live stream. So let's get right into it and start off like we always do with our crypto market overview. All right, we're already looking at the screen. Perfect. So as we can see, we are seeing a little bit of a bounce after the sell-off that occurred overnight last night. Bitcoin is at $114,000, Ethereum at $34.75. And overall, most coins are still kind of just oscillating after the sell-off earlier that occurred this week. Last night, we did see a pretty decent move where we saw USDT dominance come right into our 9-day hidden order block here. That's at 4.60%. As we can see, technically, I believe we actually front ran it. Or no, we hit it. Very, very slightly. We just hit that. Okay, there's also a 22-hour. Right, that was actually hit. Okay, so actually on the 22-hour time frame, we definitely hit that level. And we have seen at the same exact time where we hit this level on USDT dominance, Bitcoin perfectly retested that previous all-time high at $112,000 here, right? Here's our previous all-time high at 112K, and Bitcoin just perfectly bounced off of that level overnight last night, and we're seeing a positive reaction so far. That's great. We should 100% expect to see a positive reaction after we hit this key level on Bitcoin, and after we also at the same exact time simultaneously hit that key level on USDT dominance, okay? So we should be in for some relief here. We should have some decent bounces. And we do have the weekly candle close today on Bitcoin. And this is a very important weekly candle close because I think this is going to set the tone for the first half of August. So let's go over this weekly candle for Bitcoin, both the bullish case and the bearish case. So, of course, we're going to go over the bullish case first because we want to see this price go up. Remember, bears are miserable. People that like to short over people that like to long. Generally speaking, the people that like to short, their personality is that of misery. Like they don't like to see other people win, right? Generally, I'm a bull. So let's go over the bull case first. On the weekly time frame here, this is how our weekly candle looks so far. Not very encouraging. Not very encouraging at all. We need to repair some damage within the next 12 hours, even less than 12 hours actually, 8 hours. We have to repair some damage here on Bitcoin. So ideally what we see happen is price come back over the hump here at 115K. It would be really best if we got back into the range, which is like 115,600, and we closed back inside of our range up here on the weekly candle. All right, so we have to repair some damage quickly here on Bitcoin in order to have a strong weekly candle close. If Bitcoin ends up closing beneath $15,600, again, that's our range low that we've had marked for weeks here on Bitcoin, 115,600, we need to close above that if we're going to stay bullish here in the short term, in my opinion. All right, so let's watch for that to happen. Again, bouncing perfectly off of the previous all-time high here. There should be enough gas in the tank, to close back above 115, but let's see how it goes. Now, conversely, on the other hand, let's say we end up putting in a bearish close for Bitcoin, and we close around here, 113. God forbid we come back down to like 112 and close around there. That's really not a good sign at all. All right. In general, I still do have my eyes on the quarterly open, which is at $107,000 here on BTC. That's our red line down here. This is the quarterly open at 107K. This is a hot spot for the Bitcoin price. Now, if I had to ask the magic conch shell on how things are going to go here, right? Of course, the bullish case would just be this was the dip. We immediately recoup the range and we start pushing the highs. Or maybe we chop altcoins pump and then we push the highs. That's bullish. But if we don't get this bullish scenario, if I had to guess, it would look something like this. Probably chop and slop up to around 116K. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing some type of rejection. Okay, well, I'm going to adjust our trend line here. Okay, so we have a bearish trend line from the all-time high at 123K, connecting the high at 119. So if I had to speculate on how it's going to go, we likely chop and slop up until the trend line around 116, 117. And I wouldn't be surprised to see us puke to the quarterly to put the low in August, right? Sometime around the middle of August. That's our low. And then we start going up from there. That's if I had to guess what's going to happen. But hey, nobody knows what's going to happen here in the market. Remember, anybody that's speaking in certainty, like absolutes here, doesn't understand how this works. This is all probability based. And, you know, because it's all probability based, it can literally go both ways. So anyways, that's my bullish case. And then my bearish case is the one that I just went over there, which is what I kind of expect to happen here. So that's Bitcoin. Again, let's see how the weekly candle closes, and we'll go from there, right? We have around 8 hours or so until that weekly candle close. But in general, good to see a bounce from 112. Should see some relief now. So we have to talk about Ethereum. We have to talk about Ethereum because Ethereum is essentially leading the market currently, right? It's the Ethereum season. It's Ethereum's time to shine. Bitcoin was in the captain's seat for years. Now Ethereum is leading the path. So let's start off on the weekly time frame here for ETH. And this is our weekly candle, okay? Our weekly candle, again, not very encouraging currently on ETH. Right? We had to repair some damage, and quick, within the next 8 hours or so. So I'm just going to get right to the chase here. I posted in the Mastermind when price was here around the 30th of July. Like, okay, this is the local top, right? So it was a good run, but we had a local top, and that ended up being valid as we got the sell-off to end the week. What am I looking for now, guys? What am I expecting now on Ethereum? If I had to speculate on the path this asset will take, we have a 12-hour breaker, bearish breaker, hidden order block, whatever the heck you want to call it. But that's going to be up here at 37.50 to 37.89. Up here highlighted in red on the 12-hour time frame. Okay, so this was left behind. This is a bearish order block behind a fair value gap. So if we do see price move into here at 37.60 approximately, this week's Monday low area, that will also likely line up with Bitcoin pumping up to its level we just outlined. And again, we can put a trend line here connecting the highs. Okay, let's get our Monday range off of the screen. So we can put a trend line here connecting the highs like so, where we have our all-time, or not the all-time high, but we have the local high, that lower high. So what I'm looking for is essentially Ethereum to rally into this level, into the 12-hour at 37.60. And it's likely going to lead to a rejection. And from there, I would like to see this daily bullish breaker block get taken. Okay. So basically up and down is what I'm looking for on Ethereum. Up here to 37.60, down to 3,300. Take this liquidity that's here. It's been sitting here for a long time. And then ideally we'd go up from there. That's the plan. We're not going to speak moves in advance. That's just kind of what I'm looking for right now. All right, but also mark out 2,900 because that's important. But we're just taking it one step at a time, guys. One step at a time. So this is my plan personally for ETH, okay? I'm looking for a rally up here and a rejection to 3,300. So up here at 37.60, we don't want to just short this level blind. We could, okay? We could short the level blind. But it's best to line that up with something on USDT dominance. All right. So on USDT dominance, at this point in time, so we have this 9-day level. Let me see if I mark this little guy in here. I guess I didn't mark this little guy here. But we also have a level within the level. It's at 4.34%. Okay. Technically, yes, it did get wicked through. But in terms of a level to look for shorts on USDT dominance closest, right here in this 4.34, 4.35%, just these previous lows. Also in here we have, this 9-day level that technically got taken, but I'm looking for this 4.34% to line that up. If you're looking to short anything, this would be the optimal time when USDT dominance is at that 4.34% level. And if you see ETH up here in this 12-hour at 37.60, I think it will likely lead to price coming here to $3,300. All right, so that's my general plan here on Bitcoin as well as Ethereum as we do go ahead and get our week started. It's still Sunday right now. We have the weekly candle close in around 8 hours or so. But that's the general plan right now. All right. So also with that, we have to keep tabs on Bitcoin dominance. And you can see Bitcoin dominance has finally come into this 4-day level here. Just hit it last night with Bitcoin perfectly hitting 112K. All right, so that's more confluence that, we should see some type of relief here. And then let's see what else. What else hit last night? Well, we have, let's put this here. At the same time, USDC dominance, US dollar coin, perfectly came into this bearish breaker block. At the same time, Bitcoin hit 112. Again, I'm just showing you this for confluence, just to show anybody who might be new, looking at all these different charts, how to actually piece them together. Everyone's saying the stream is freezing like crazy. Is it still freezing? By the way, shout out to Elvis, my man Elvis. Thank you for the super chat, sir. We have some issues here with the Wi-Fi. This is ridiculous, man. This is actually ridiculous. Let me know if the connection's better now. Someone says YouTube's been doing this all morning to everyone. So on my end, it says I'm all green and clear. It says I have a good connection. So I would like to continue on with our live stream right now, but I don't want to talk to myself while I'm a frozen picture and you guys can't see or hear me. HE says it's not my Wi-Fi. YouTube has been doing this all morning. I mean, I appreciate the encouragement, man. I do appreciate the encouragement. Let me know if it's working, guys. I want to continue with our live stream right now. All right, I'm going to continue, guys. Everyone says they can hear me, but they can't really see me because it's choppy. It's good. All right, cool. Let's continue. Anyways, USDC dominance hit this 2-day bearish breaker block when at the same exact time that Bitcoin hit 112K. Again, just showing you this to demonstrate what confluence looks like. That's what it looks like. And then real quick, looking at these totals. So the main was the total 3. The total 3 is the only total chart that actually came into something of relevance on the sell-off yesterday. It came right into $925 billion, 930. This is an important support level for altcoins on the total 3. And we're seeing a bounce, okay? Ultimately, we do have a level over here at 880 billion. So we want to keep an eye on that in case this ends up being the August low before a nice new all-time high on the total 3. So yeah, the total 3 hit. The other totals didn't really hit any key levels. But anyways, Bitcoin was the main thing. A lot of altcoins actually, because Ethereum front ran this level. It's important to understand Ethereum front ran this level. Many altcoins also front ran their levels. Okay, so we're bouncing after really not taking them on ETH and a lot of altcoins. Let's move on now to Solana, to Sol. And Sol came into 156 yesterday, put in a low at 155.83. And you can see how this is still trading underneath the daily 200 EMA. However, it's still respecting. There's been no closure on the daily time frame below this demand zone. All right, so technically, price is holding this level at like 155. And again, the idea right now is to see some type of relief bounce to see USDT dominance come back into the 4.35% area. So that means we should see relief on alts across the board. So for Solana, you know, we can put another trend line here and things like that. But ultimately, I want to make it just clear as day. As long as Solana is underneath $190, it will not go higher. So that means if price comes up here, get rid of this trend line. We're using horizontal support resistance. Price comes up to, let's say this week we get this scenario. Solana pumps up to $190. Everyone's going crazy, right? We're back, bull market, whatever, all that stuff. If it doesn't get above 190 and close the daily above 190, it will reject. And we probably are going to see the discussion that I talked about yesterday where altcoins could come to their respective range lows. So this week is a very important week. Every week is important, but now we have, you know, some new ideas to trade off of, which is always very exciting. So anyways, let's look for a move back into supply over here. Supply is like around $190 on Sol. You can see this is what led to this sell-off. Price could not get above 190. It wicked above, bang, sell off to demand. So this is the level to flip, $190 on Sol. Remember, when we get up there, we probably will be up here in a few days this week. All right, we'll be up here at 190. Everyone's going to be like cheering from the rooftops, going crazy. If it can't flip it, it's a very, very, very bad sign that it wants to come to the range low. And the range low ain't at 130, guys, right? The range low is not at 130. The range low is at $100. Okay, this is fair value. Notice how everyone is buying and selling here, right? A lot of buying and selling. This is a fair price. Notice how little time it's spent at 100, because that's such an on sale. Think you're going to Costco wholesale, right? You're going to Costco. You see some item that you like, it's on sale. Everyone likes that item. How long does it spend at that price point before it sells out? And then they restock and the price is higher. Not a very long amount of time. It's the same thing with these assets. So Solana at 140, 130, that's fair value. That's the regular price basically. If it comes to 100, that is totally on sale and everybody wants to buy it. Look how little time it's spent there. So I'm saying very clearly, if we reject off of 190, look out below and get ready to buy it at the range low at 100. But hey, if we flip 190, we might push, we might stay bullish. But as of right now, this chart has a negative connotation with this sell-off. All right, we were not able to get above resistance here. And in general, if money cannot come back into this market quickly, we're going to see wholesale prices. And that goes with most altcoins, right? Basically everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, or some coin that's just really strong out there that has a lot of demand for whatever reason. There's a few of those altcoins. But in general, that's what I'm seeing on Solana. Doge, same thing again, right? This weekly candle is not really a good look. This is a 35% correction from the high to the low. 35%. So you can see we're bouncing right off of the 3-day level again, which led to this kind of blow off top rally over here to end the month of July. Bouncing exactly from that price point at 18.8 cents. Price is up around 5% or so far. We can see it's up 5.18% from that low that was put in earlier today. But in general, there's a lot of work to do to repair this Dogecoin chart. Okay, the weekly doesn't look good at all. Okay, a weekly candle close like this is really not bullish in any way, shape, or form. So again, I mean, first order of business would be get above the daily 200 EMA. But the real order of business would be to flip the box, right, or red box, or supply area. Again, we just looked at Solana, same thing, right? Notice how price tried to break above several times here to end the month of July, but it cannot get above 24.5 cents. So ultimately, it sold off down here, back to 18. So on the flip side, if we come back up here to 24.25 cents, but we can't get above it, right? We cannot get above it. Instead, we stay below it. That's a very bad sign, and that means we could see Dogecoin come to wholesale level prices, which is, near the April lows. So look out below if that's the case. Again, we would like the bullish scenario to happen, okay? And the bullish scenario would be for Dogecoin to be able to get above this red box, close above it, and then just simply push up and keep taking out levels of resistance, right? Because there's a lot of them to take higher. It will take these levels higher. It's important to understand this. I think the cycle doesn't end without Dogecoin going to $1 personally, all right? It's just a matter of when. And if it can't flip 24.5 here in August to start the month, we should get ready to buy some really cheap prices on Dogecoin. So that's the plan there. Let's see what you guys are saying over here in the live chat. By the way, Elvis, thank you for the super chat again, man. If you have a question, let me know. Shout out to Semi187. We got Mr. Cody the One. What's up, Mr. Cody? We have Jane. What's up, Jane? Talk about Doji. I got nothing to talk about there. It's a successful Pump.fun launch. That's what I'll say. One of the very, very, very few successful Pump.fun launches. We got B Marquis in the building. What's up, B Marquis? DD. We got Glaucus. What's up? Psalm Fox. What's up, Psalm? We'll look at those alts in a minute. Ellie Incognito. What's going on? And Grotto EZ. What's going on, everyone? Smash up the like button. Good to see all you guys here. So we have a request for Sui. And let's take a look at Sui. It's a large cap altcoin, so it's always good to keep tabs on Sui. So it looks like Sui, just like ETH, a lot of these coins just front ran some levels. And Sui is no different, okay? It wicked down to $3.26, and it had a level at $3.23. However, with that, it did SFP these lows over here on the daily time frame. So technically, this is a bullish SFP. Now, it's the same connotation across the board with these different altcoins, again, because they're all very highly correlated. So it's in my understanding that the analysis I just showed you on something like Solana or Dogecoin, it very well can be applied to an asset like Sui as well. So let's put a box here because, this is what led to the rejection, right? And then draw this to the left. So it's pretty clear that SUI has pretty heavy supply. People like to sell SUI at $4, right? This asset is struggling to get above $4. In the most recent times over the past 3-4 months, every time it's come to $4, it's led to a pretty steep and sharp rejection. So we know for the bulls, it has to be able to, first of all, rally up to $4, but then actually close above and flip it into support so that I can go take out higher levels. All right. So SUI, I see it going up. Like, I can see a $7, $8 SUI for sure this later on. Right? This isn't necessarily like a cooked asset at all, but it's just the timing of it, okay? It's just the timing of everything. Because if we're going to sell off here in August, right, we want to time it properly and be able to buy at wholesale prices. All right, so as of right now, the market does have a bearish posture after this sell-off. Again, for the bulls, it has to flip $4. So this is our supply level up here. If we rally into this week and we can't get above it, we have to look out for where value is. And for SUI, that's, below $2 essentially, right? Down here. So let's see how it goes. Right? This week, watch for SUI to push up back up to $4. From there, if you're bearish, you short it. If you're bullish on SUI and you think it's going to go pump from here, well, you're long from down here into $4, and then you're expecting it to break. It's pretty simple stuff, right? But yeah, in general, if I had to guess what was going to happen, using my magic crystal ball, there is no magic crystal ball. I just like to say that. It would be for price to come up here to $4, reject, and then we see some lower prices in the middle of August or so, first half, leading to a big reversal. In order for that to be invalid, SUI would have to get above $4 quickly. And then AI16Z it's pretty cooked, man. We looked at this yesterday. So yeah, basically it's just not a good look. And if it needs to turn around quickly, otherwise it will come into where the cabal bundled it, which is like 14-15 million market cap or something, right? Because if it loses this low, there's literally nothing until where the cabal bundled it, and that's over here, in case anybody's confused on what I'm saying by the cabal bundling. So it launched over here on the 30th of October. I don't know why there's this long period of time. This chart's weird, right? It goes from, on the daily time frame, it goes from October 30th to the 25th of November on the daily. I don't know. They did something with the contract, but you can see. And then it just went straight up. I don't know what they did. It looks like they allowed trading for 1 day in October, 1 day in November, and then on December 18th, they made it public or something. I don't know. This is a wacky chart. So if it loses this level, it might come back down to ground zero. But in general, I would focus on other assets right now, okay? I would focus on other assets. Don't even worry about this coin for the time being. Don't even look at it. Don't check it. So you can set alerts lower. Set alerts at this low and look at the reaction. But don't waste your brain capacity on AI16Z. Hard to hear. I mean, I'll put the mic in my face. Let me fix that. How's that? Should be better. I don't want to mess with my settings too much because it could screw everything up. Let me know if the sound is better. Sound was good. Yeah, you guys, look, you guys like to complain about everything, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure the sound was good, but yeah, whatever. We tested it before we went live, and the sound was good. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste any brain space on the sound anymore. But yeah, generally need louder audio. Got it. We'll try and figure that out at a later time. Right now, I'm gonna focus on the live stream. Right. That's what we're all here for. So Ellie Carlos is asking about Mamo on Base, which is the Moonwell DeFi agent. And Mamo, let's go to the USD chart. So Mamo's had a good run. This was a 100% move, I believe. Not 300%, 250%. Where it went from around 5 cents up to 18 cents at the highs, and it pulled back to 10, and we're seeing a bounce. Okay, so this asset is looking very good. It's putting in higher highs and higher lows. So we'll see if it just can break out here with the market potentially showing strength here this week. Let's see here. If we go to Mamo. So level behind at around 6.8 cents. $0.083 is interesting. I like that 8.3 cents. Otherwise, there's a lot at like 6. Yeah, so let's stick with that. All right, this is a pretty small level, but it's definitely a level in the 23-hour time frame. 23-hour works well. If you know, you know. But yeah, this is going to be down at around 8.3 cents for Mamo. So this would be a good level to look to be a buyer. It's awfully close to being a fib level as well. But yeah, 8.3 cents for this asset. If it does want to, give you a lower entry, because as of right now, this has higher lows and higher highs. So clear uptrend. We'll see if it wants to break out. But if it does come here, or 6 cents like we talked about, those would be good entries for this coin or token. Kitty Kush says, I live in the woods. Maybe. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. All right, anyways, useless coin. So useless coin is looking like it needs to show some strength soon, or it is cooked. So basically, just for simplicity's sake, I drew a channel. So we have a trend line on the bottom and a trend line on the top forming this channel. Now what's gone on here on Useless is price broke the support trend line here. And you can see now how it's just sitting in this horizontal support, where when price has come into this horizontal support in the past, we have seen a bounce. We have seen a bounce. Now, in general, this is a meme coin, and we all know how they end. We all know how meme coins end, especially when they do really well for a while. They all end in the same exact way, and that's a 99% drop. So, here on Useless, it does look like it had a great run, and it's definitely cooling off. I don't want to call the top yet. I would call it top if it loses the red box. That would be confirmation. There's no confirmation right now because we're at critical support, right? If we were to lose this, then it's obviously cooked. But we haven't lost this horizontal level yet. Now with that, on the daily, we have just made a fresh daily time frame level of supply. Okay, so if we have a bounce into supply and we struggle to get above and we reject, I would look out below. I would look out below. Now I believe this, you can trade perps on this. Yeah, it has high volume. 17.5 million on Bybit. Over 30 million of volume combined, just between OKX and Bybit. So, this is some good volume on this coin. So you can look to trade it. My bias would be a push into the 1-day supply area, and I would look to short here. Something like this. It's a wide stop. I would look to take an entry at 50% of the supply area because it's pretty wide. So you're risking too much if you look to enter right at the start of that supply. And I would trail a target, but yeah, look for like a 50% rejection. That can definitely happen. It's a meme coin, so just as fast as they rise, they fall even harder. I have made a lot on meme coins, and I have lost a lot on meme coins because, like just what I said, the faster the rise, the harder the fall. All right? But I am a student of the game. So in that sense, I'm constantly trying to learn and level up. And this way I can obviously present to you guys the most accurate and informative information possible. But yeah, I mean, I've experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in the meme coin market. All right, I've been through the ringer. So yeah. But overall, I'd say I'm still up. But damn, I mean, we're talking substantial amounts of gains lost because of greed and not selling when the chart shows weakness in the past. So trust me, I've experienced all of the emotions, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I've been there, trust me. But this is my TA on Useless. Let's see. FBS says, good to see you, Connor. Dog to the moon, Bitcoin seems to have hit a sort of demand zone. Is it a good entry or better buying opportunity available ahead? So this is the dog go to the moon coin. I believe this is one of the first, or the first Bitcoin. It's a very relevant ordinal, I believe. Hopefully my terminology is correct. But yes, you are correct there, FBS. I would classify this as a weekly demand. Right? So it is in here. It certainly is in here. And you can see how, this area in price has led to some positive reactions in the past, right? First of all, support over here, resistance, breakout, retested, bounce. The issue that I see is the lower high into this level. All right, so you have lower highs with equal lows. Does this look familiar anywhere? I have to go into this example because it's the most relevant example that pops into my head when I see lower highs and equal lows. Yes, we're talking about Bitcoin circa 2018. We are talking about this right now. We are. All right. This is a great example of what can happen when we have price making lower highs and equal lows. Right? Lower high, same low, lower high, lower high, equal lows. What happens? It eventually just pukes. So back to dog go to the moon. We have that kind of forming right now. So let's see what happens here if we bounce and we end up putting in a lower high back to this level. You're probably going to break down through it. And it looks like there's a 2-day at 0016. A lot of levels here on the 4-day. Just below 0.002. Yeah, so it would be over here if we end up losing this level. So that's my take on dog go to the moon. It looks like you might get a better opportunity, but hey, this is a level where you should see a bounce. So with that being said, it depends how you want to play it. It totally depends how you want to play it. If you want to buy it here, well, just be careful and use a stop loss in case it rejects and breaks through. But this looks like a good price for now. Smash up the like button, guys. Smash it up, smash it up. Smash up the like. Shout out to Thomas Kefe. Jason Becker. GT Nuts. What's up, GT? Video's getting better. All right, that's awesome. Looks like we have somebody spamming the chat. Shout out to Dre for using his moderation power and getting that spammer out of here. Aerodrome Finance. So all these coins at the moment, they all look bad. Which generally speaking, don't take this literally, but generally when things look bad like this, and you don't want to buy anything, it's a good time to be a buyer. I know that, right? But again, don't take that literally, because sometimes you can take them at face value, and if they look bad, it means they are bad. Okay, at the current moment in time. When I say bad, I just mean kind of a negative connotation on the chart, bearish. So Aerodrome below the daily 200 EMA, it's in this demand zone. This is a level we've already outlined, and we've expected this to hold up price, and it is doing that, right? We had a hard sell-off here, and this 75-cent level is holding up price. Okay, we've stopped the selling, stopped the bleeding temporarily. So it's the same. Again, all these coins are so correlated. So my analysis is gonna kind of look the same as these other coins. So we can see how Aerodrome, after this sell-off, or before this sell-off, it tested this 90 to 95 cent level a few times over here. Okay, after it broke this trend line, it wicked up into 90 to 95, and then it sold off. So that's a little clue that tells us that, that's the level that's got to get flipped here, 90 to 95 cents. So let's put a box there. All right, this is supply. This asset gets sold off up here in supply. So for Aero, let's watch it. See if it, first of all, can reclaim the daily 200 EMA. But watch for a move back into 90 to 95 cents and into the supply area. Because it has to flip this, otherwise it will reject and probably go to where value is. And, value is... Values, the 42-cent level never got hit over here. Remember, we were talking a lot about Aerodrome in June, right? We talked about this low at 50 cents. We called this perfectly. Called the pump. But this at 42 is left behind. So we might see 42, which is wild because it's, from the high, we're talking a 50, 60% correction. But is it really that wild? Is a 57% correction that uncommon for altcoins? Absolutely not. At this point, it's run of the mill, right? We're seeing 50 to 90% correction on altcoins every other month, basically, at this point. So this shouldn't scare you. It's a very real possibility. And yeah, this got left behind over here in June. So let's look for that to get hit. If it wants to go back to 90 and it rejects, we are looking for 42. If it comes up to 90 and it flips it, well, then we're going to expect higher targets. But my main bias is a not great first half of August into a low around the halfway through, and then we rally out of the low. So unless we repair the damage rather quickly here, we can expect lower. John Jessup says it does feel like February to March. More bleeding consolidation. 100%, yeah. This is literally a repeat of February to April. Yes. Yes, sir. You were correct there, John Jessup. Michael Tesaro says, I know we are going to have a bull run, but we are just repeating the same things over and over at this point. Yeah, we're in a kangaroo market. I mean, we had the bull run, especially for altcoins, in the first quarter of 2024, right? The pump for altcoins, we had a crazy altcoin bull run. Just look at the total too. Right? We had this run from October 2023 to March. Okay? most altcoins are down 90% or whatever, 70, 80% from their March highs. The total too is up here because that money's just being rotated around. And also Pump.fun wasn't a thing. Meme coin creation tools were not a thing in this run in 2024. All right, but then, you know, Gary Gensler left. I mean, we all hated on Gary Gensler, but that guy held it together, man. The second Gary Gensler left, Pump.fun created, meme coin scam, rug pull left and right, left and right. We hated on Gary, but that guy was holding it together, man. Anyways, yeah, we had an alt season. Yeah, we did. This was all Pump.fun. This was all meme coins. AI agents, basically just meme coins created from a launch pad out of thin air. But it was the altcoin season was this October 2023 to March 2024. Now we're looking for the next one to our bull target. But, you know, looking back in hindsight, man, what an epic time October to March 2024 was. Right? I think we all took that for granted, myself included. But hey, as a trader, you should be able to make money in any market condition. But that was literally the easiest of easiest times in the most recent history in the crypto market. So anyways, I'm going to stop my little tangent here. But yeah, that was like the altcoin season of the cycle. All this now, it's like just kangaroo market, pump and then dump 90% the next month. So you don't go anywhere, basically. Anyways, real quick, let's look at Pump.fun. Again, we just talked about how Pump.fun didn't exist in those awesome times, late 2023, early 2024. Well, now this cancerous token is on the market. And as we can see, I mean, it looks bottomed out. It does. I just wouldn't be surprised to see them screw over everyone who's trying to long this range high breakout by sending it to the range lows one more time, stopping everyone and then pumping it. So watch pump. If it goes back to 0.0024, 0023, I'd say it's worth a try. I already got stopped out trying to long this once last week. I would try again only at the range low. All right, watch for it. Watch for a sell-off here. And maybe we break and it pumps. It's got to live up to its name. The token name is Pump, and it's done none of that. It's not pumped at all. It's actually just been a total burning trash bin. Garbage can, burning garbage can. Anyway, it looks like what's the European Central Bank lady's name? Christine Lagarde. Looks like she's buying XLM right now. Looks like we have a super chat right now from Grotto EZ. Grotto EZ, thank you, sir, for the super chat. Saying, Connor, splendid as always. I want to see if Aave and Tau are following the trajectory spoken about yesterday. Well, we can certainly go and refresh our analysis on these assets. Thank you for the super chat. Grotto EZ. So, as we discussed yesterday, I believe, we said 325 was the level, right? Now, on most exchanges, it did hit 326. Let's see. The low. Okay, so on 327 on Bybit. Let's just check the spot chart real quick on MEXC. The low was 327. All right, so 327 on most exchanges for TAO. It did just front run the daily order block levels, but I mean, hey, close enough, right? It basically hit. So yeah, we're getting the expected reaction from that, right? Price is up 5% or so, 6%. Okay. Now this has to repair a lot of damage. This has to repair a lot of damage. Now, from here, okay, we're expecting a bounce from this level. First order of business would be get above the daily 200 EMA here. I mean, I'm going to put this on. You guys see this too, obviously, right? A daily bearish breaker block. And this is a partial level, but this is at 385 to 389. And then we have this level up here at supply at 420 for Tau. So I think price is going to bounce from here. Bounce pretty decently. So if you long that level, you know, we should see a move of 15 to potentially 25%. But then we have to be careful of a lower high. Again, the analysis for all of these coins is very similar to one another. So if it does rally back into supply and it can't get above, it can't break out higher, you know, it's going to come to the range low, which is below $200. So that's TAO, and then AVE. So it came directly. We put this range on the chart. I don't remember when we put the range on, but it was weeks ago, if I had to guess. And notice how price just came directly to the middle of the range where it found support. And you were seeing a bit of a bounce, right? You're seeing a 5% or so bounce on AVE. So yeah, same kind of situation where, you know, this is holding up better. It's above the daily 200 EMA. I think we should look for price to come into supply over here at $300. All right, let's put this on. Here. Right. Yeah, right into the golden pocket. 300. Bounce into that. If it can flip that, amazing. But if it can't flip that, look out below, guys. Range lows inbound. You know, potentially 180 to 125. So that's what I would look for. Bounce here from the mid-range into supply, and then there you got to make a decision. Are you bullish? If you're bullish, well, then price should rip through supply. Are you bearish? If you're bearish, you expect this to reject and make a new low. But Grotto EZ, my man, thank you for that super chat, bro. Appreciate the support. Too Dirty says, does anyone think that Solana will go lower than 160? Well, I do. I talked about that already in the stream. If you didn't see that part at the end, rewind earlier on when we talked about Solana. Michelle Tesaro says, thank you for saying my name right, from Italy. No problem. No problem at all. Let's see. Celephant has a question. Celephant says, can you look at syrup? My friend gig along the top from 0.5 and got stuck in it. He's stuck in hopium that it'll return. Celephant, hopefully your friend that you speak of is able to cut a loss at some point. That's very important. You have to be able to cut a loss at some point. All right. If your idea is wrong, just get out of the trade. So I would tell him that or her that. Now, I would say your friend's hope is that this support level holds it. All right. Just a basic horizontal support. Ain't nothing fancy about it. I don't even know. Is this the RWA coin syrup? I'm not sure. Is it DeFi? It's an interesting looking chart, to say the least. And I'd say that you probably do get a bounce from here. Right? You at least go and test supply at around 55 cents to like 53 cents up here. You test this supply and wait to see if it can get above that if you're bullish. But you know, if you're holding on to something underwater and you want to get out at a better price, see if it bounces back up here to like 55 and get out. Now, if it's bullish, it will flip this and go push to new all-time highs. But if it is bearish and it has topped for now, well then look for a push into supply and then lower. Can I check Troll? Yeah, I was looking at Troll. Very impressive. So I'm not sure. I think this is a Pump.fun coin. Yeah, it is via Pump.fun. So, you know, Pump.fun trying to stay relevant, and they got a runner on their platform with Troll. And this thing is up substantially, right? It's up 500% or whatever on this rally. So nothing really to say other than, I mean, this is what a successful meme coin looks like. I haven't seen a chart like this where it spends a lot of time just in accumulation and then it just blasts off. This is the stuff we saw in 2024, what I showed you before, right? This is like a reminiscent of the past. Reminisce of the past. Remnant. Anyway. Nothing really to say other than if you're holding this, good job. If you're not holding it, well, I wouldn't FOMO into it now. And a super chat from HD, my man HD with the super chat. It says IDEX. What's the market cap of this coin? $26 million. How's the volume? Avoid. Look at the volume. It's literally it's crazy low, man. So I would not trade this coin. The chart looks like it doesn't look good. Right here on the weekly, you see you have volume coming in. Okay, so you have a weekly breakout, it appears, and it's bull flagging. So okay, maybe you want to trade this, and if you do want to trade it, I can see some volume coming in here after being really dead for a while. So if you want to trade it, respect the bull flag. Okay, so respect the bull flag and look for it to break the bull flag out. The volume is a great sign. Whoops. So let's take our measured move flagpole for the heck of it. Go clone that. So this should take it to around 5.8 cents, which is over 100% from the current price. So yeah, this is how I would play IDEX if I was going to trade it at all. Shout out to HD. No, Green Horde, I didn't say rewind. Did I say rewind? I think I said, I don't know. I don't know when I said that. I was saying reminisces of a stock operator is what I was thinking of. But anyway, let's look at RSC. But I mean, I grew up with rewinding things on the DVR. Like, I'm not that old, but I did grow up before the modern technology. Anyways, RSC here just got listed on Coinbase. Let's take a look at the chart here on the DEXs. So this has the volume, an Aerodrome. Horrible looking chart. Let's go here. So shout out to La Vaz Del Vulcan for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, man. So looking at RSC here. That's the weekly. This is the daily. So it's very clear that the Coinbase listing, which happened on the 31st. Yeah, so this RSC was listed on Coinbase on the 31st of July. And if you notice, it looks like this pump happened on the 25th. Okay, so look at the volume. It's a dead giveaway. It's a dead giveaway. So here's the thing, guys. We can see that it got listed on Coinbase on the 25th, or the 31st of July, and on the 25th, massive buying volume came out of nowhere after just nothing, no volume for a long time. So we can be like, oh, you know, they were really, really smart people, and, you know, they just had a lucky guess that RSC was going to pump for some reason, you know, so that's why they bought it on the 25th. It's very obvious this was an insider or a group of insiders from Coinbase that loaded up on this coin before the Coinbase listing. And then over here on the 31st, when it was listed, you know, they took some profit. So that's what's happened here. This was an 80% move in 2 days, okay? So that's what happened. There's going to be people being like, bro, man, you're such a hater. Like things like that. No, this is what happened objectively, okay? So here we are now. Here we are now on RSC, post-Coinbase listing, post-listing sell-off. It's a fresh listing. So what worries me is the only reason the volume came in was the Coinbase listing. Is there true demand for this asset? Do people actually really want to buy it? Or was it just insiders buying it before the Coinbase listing? That's the question we have to ask ourselves right now. So is the price going to be able to hold this pump? You know, it's doing okay so far, right? It's recouped most of the sell-off already. And you also came on that sell-off again, right into a bullish breaker. Right in here. In the fair value gap, sell off right into it, bounce. Okay? So in theory, this should be the start of an uptrend. This should be the low. This is a higher high. This should be a higher low. We should see another higher high. If for whatever reason we can't get above the highs and we can't make a higher high, well then we're probably coming back down to support at like 36 cents. But that's my take on RSC. All right. It looks like a new uptrend has formed. If it has formed, we should see a higher high here. All right, guys. All right, that's RSC. Shout out to my man La Vaz Del Voken for the super chat. Smash up the like button, everyone. Smash it up. Let them know. Let them know that you guys like Crypto Empire. Let the YouTube algorithm know. But we are going to go ahead and wrap up our Sunday live stream right here and right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I definitely enjoyed this live stream from my end as the presenter. I hope you guys over in the audience watching from all around the world got some value from today's live stream as I went over my trading plan, talked about different assets and the overall stance that I'm seeing here in the market. So as always, guys, I appreciate all of your support. Thanks for showing up today. Thank you for everyone who gave super chats. And if you haven't yet, smash the like button. Come on, do me a solid. Smash the like button. Thank you for your support. That's all from me from right now. Be on the lookout. We have some videos dropping this week. And yeah, we'll see how we go. Are we going to have a bullish start to August and pump from here after that low was hit on Bitcoin at 112K? Or are we going to have a bearish first half of August? Well, you guys have seen my analysis. You kind of know my bias and my stance. But ultimately, the market is always right. So let's keep a close eye on things. I look forward to coming to you live throughout this week. Hit the subscribe and bell notification icon so you don't miss when I go live or when I post a video. And have an amazing rest of your Sunday, everyone. My name is Connor from Crypto Empire. Stay up, stay blessed, stay rich, stay winning. I'll see you in the next video.